Hey, manufacturing world, welcome to another episode of Shop Matters, sponsored by Okuma America Corporation. I'm your host, Wade Anderson, and joining me here today, we have got Lucas Cao, the president and owner of Squid Industries. Welcome, Lucas. Thank you for joining me.
Yeah, thank you, Wade. Thanks for having me.
All right, I appreciate you being here. I know IMTS is a busy time, so I really appreciate you taking time out of your day to come have a quick chat with us.
Yeah, of course. I mean, we love our Okuma machines, and I'm honored to be here on the stage to talk with you.
All right. So tell me a little bit about Squid Industries. What do you do?
So Squid Industries is a manufacturer of butterfly knives and trainers.
Okay. So butterfly knives and trainers.
That's right.
And I know when this goes out over the radio or over the podcast, this isn't videoed, so they won't see it. But anybody watching, can you give a little demonstration on what a butterfly knife and trainer, what you do with those?
Absolutely. So I'm going to perform something that we refer to as flipping. It's basically doing tricks with our knives. It is sharp, so for those of you who are watching, I wouldn't recommend replicating it unless you've practiced quite a bit.
That was incredible. That's smooth.
Thanks.
And I just want everybody to know the nerves of steel I've got, because that's right at eyeball level while I was sitting here.
Don't worry, I've never dropped it, Wade. I've never dropped it. I've never made a mistake.
That's awesome. So I got to hear a little bit of your story yesterday. We sat and had a quick conversation, and you really got started in business from an Instagram post, basically.
I did. Yeah.
So,
I was an enthusiast and wanted to make my own product and just shared my progress of making my own product, and that just got other people in the community interested in what I was doing.
Yeah. So talk through that. I mean, you basically put a Instagram post together, posted it, and people started reaching out saying, hey, how can I get these?
So the way it started was I was an enthusiast and I was a collector of these knives. I wanted to be the best flipper. I wanted to try them all, just like how anyone in any racket sport, or you want to try all the rackets or all the clubs. You want to find the exact one that fits your preferences. I was doing the same thing with knives. I wanted to be the best flipper. And in that process, I found that there was a huge issue with the market, and that the products were just too expensive. There's a huge gaping hole in the lower end of the market. Anything below $200 was just no good.
So too hard to reach average people.
Right. So I decided I'm going to try to make my own product that had high performance, but it was still accessible to a lower end user. So I started posting that work. And I was working at my mom's shop, and I was just doing the R&D process and just showing people what I was working on, and that just got people interested in the project, and I gained a following from that.
No kidding. Wow. Yeah. So what all goes into making a competition level knife?
What goes into it is a lot of the R&D is really in the feel, and that's kind of a hard thing to describe.
Okay.
Is the balance and the ergonomics of the product is very subjective. Not everyone agrees on what's the correct ratio of weight between the handles and the blades, and that's just something that we have to experiment with and let people try, and we'll try to find that perfect middle ground that suits everybody's needs. But it is hard to figure out the perfect balance.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the way that's pinned together, are there bearings inside there, or
there
is
are
that
bushings
just a
inside there?
bushings?
But it's a fairly simple system of we have a bolt and a screw, and then there's a 416 bushing in there, and there's phosphor bronze washers on each side.
Okay.
And we manufacture most of those parts on our Citizen L12.
Okay. No kidding.
Yeah.
So do you have a standard product line, or are these all custom built to order?
No, it's a standard product line for sure. I mean, we would love to do more custom work, but we would never get anything done. So we have about 8 or 9 standard product lines, trainers and knives. And for those of you who are listening who don't know what a trainer is,
that was going to be my next question. What is a trainer?
Yeah. So I mean, everyone's familiar with a knife. A trainer looks and it feels like a knife, but it just doesn't have a sharpened cutting edge. So for those who want to get into flipping and they don't want to cut themselves, if they make a mistake, it's only going to bruise their knuckles. It's not going to cut them.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Fantastic.
Yeah.
So how many, I'm assuming these are competitions that you go to. How many competitions a year? Where are they located?
Yeah. So there's like 2 or 3 competitions. The two largest one's held on the West Coast that we host, called the West Coast Flipping Championship.
Okay.
It's held at Blade Show West, which is a knife trade show on the West Coast. And then there's Bally Comp, which is hosted by another company at Blade Show Atlanta. And these are just two large knife shows that are held annually.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when you got started in manufacturing, you talked about your parents' shop. Kind of step me through that process. You said you were in school, and
Yeah.
then you started this.
So I was in community college.
Basically like a hobby.
Yeah, it was my second year of community college. My parents hired me as an elementary just saw operator. I was squaring aluminum stock, and they were making equipment for the hard disk industry, but business was unfortunately in decline. So we had a lot of free time. We were basically just twiddling our thumbs, waiting for the jobs to roll in, and I was just spending all my time flipping my knives, just like waiting in the shop. And since we had all this time, I asked my boss. I said, "Hey man, like, do you think we could spend some time making a prototype?" And so he was all the brains on the programming and the fixturing and all that stuff. I didn't know that stuff at the time.
Okay.
I gave him a napkin sketch of what I thought would be a cool design. I handed him all of my knives and I said, take all the average dimensions of every handle and blade and weight, and then let's just try to make something right in the middle. And that's really how it got started.
No kidding.
Yeah.
So what did that transition look like then from being part-time to growing into actually having your own business?
Yeah, that's a great question. So what happened was that I was going to community college. I was doing the business part-time. I ended up transferring to UC San Diego for mechanical engineering. So I actually had to step away from the business for about a year. And so what ended up following is that when I came back from my first year, I hired a couple guys who lived locally, around my town. And so they were doing all the assembly and all the physical work as I went back to school, UC San Diego, and I was handling, the purchasing, product design, marketing, customer support, and I was managing them remotely as I was still going to school. And that went on for a couple years until we saved up enough money to buy our first vertical. And once we did that, I ended up telling my parents, I'm going to spend 3 months learning how to run it. I'm going to train someone how to use it, and I'm going to go back to school, finish my degree. But that actually never happened. At the end of that quarter, I ended up dropping out. I bought another vertical, and then I just never went back to school. And then subsequently, right after that, I ended up hiring my boss, who helped me prototype my first products. Because my parents' company, they were unfortunately they went under right at that time.
Wow.
So it was really cool to be able to keep my boss around because he was a big mentor to me.
Yeah.
So it was wonderful.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So what led you to buying your first Okuma?
So we do a lot of aluminum products.
Okay.
And so we originally started off with Haas. I mean, I didn't know anything as a layman. No, I was just looking up YouTube videos. I saw that was a really common machine, and so I ended up buying that. But as I went on and started manufacturing our own products for a few years, we wanted to delve into more exotic, more difficult materials.
Okay.
So that would be hardened stainless, titanium, and other materials. And we wanted to make sure that for these top of the line products that we were going to make, I wanted to make sure that we were doing it on the absolute best machines. I knew that we could probably do it on our Haas, but I wanted to be able to trust the machine that would hit the exact tolerances and have the accuracy we needed, that we would never have to worry about it. So that's why I settled on an Okuma M560.
No kidding. How long have you had that machine now?
We've had it for about 2 years now.
Okay.
Yeah, we bought our second one about 8 months after that.
Oh, nice. Okay.
So yeah, we love both of them. They're amazing.
All right. Beautiful.
Yeah.
So what's the future look like for you? What are your plans? Do you have any key goals that brought you to IMTS?
Yeah. So I mean, my key goal was to actually purchase a horizontal, and right after this podcast, I'm going to go and sign an order contract for an MB4000.
Oh, no kidding! Wow.
Yeah. We're gonna.
Yeah.
So I've been looking at horizontals for over 9 months. I've toured shops from over 4 brands, and I've really tried to do my due diligence and figure out what is the best machine for us.
Okay.
And just looking at what's offered in the market, it's funny, just ended up coming right back to Okuma.
Right.
And
that's nice.
we love the machines, and my guys are excited. We have Haas, Doosan, we have Brother, and we have Okuma. And as a business owner, I've never wanted to be too attached to any brand, because I want to make sure that we're buying the absolute best tools for our application. So I've tried to delve into all these different machines, but we trust Okuma.
Sure.
So,
oh, that's fantastic. It's great to hear.
Yeah.
So obviously I am a big fan of horizontal machining centers, but I'd really like to hear from you as you're making that transition. What was your thought process? What made you decide, hey, I've got a couple of verticals now, I want to make that jump into horizontals? What was that trigger? What's your thought process on that?
It was really just automation. Like we were considering all sorts of different automation packages, whether it was a vertical with a robotic arm or a pallet system for 4 verticals. And what we found was that we wanted a robust system that was able to hit that unintended cycle time that that we were looking for, and we knew that horizontals were the kings of that. So to me, it was a natural transition. All of our fixturing is pretty much what's done on a horizontal anyways.
Okay.
So pretty much every person that's been through our shop told us that it was a natural transition.
So what does your fixturing look like? I mean, are you using base plates and quick change?
So it's similar. So we use orange vice bodies, but we actually have their pallet systems on those vice bodies, so we can quick change them in and out. So
very nice.
We're using a bunch of Mighty Bite fixture clamps, and
so you're going to transition that from vertical just up to tombstones.
Yeah, I mean we should be able to just pop them right up onto the horizontal. I don't think there should be any work involved at all.
Yeah, very nice.
Yeah.
What do you program with?
We use Fusion 360.
Yeah.
For our parts, the complexity is there really isn't that much complexity relative to I think a lot of parts out there. So Fusion is plenty powerful for what we're doing, and for us, we like the graphic and user interface. It's fairly simple to utilize, and just the cloud-based software allows a lot of collaboration between me and the guys.
Okay, excellent, very good.
Yeah.
Well, listen, Lucas, I really appreciate your time today. Appreciate you joining us here, and I don't want to keep you away from the Gasser guys, so let's get back at it here.
All right, sounds good. Thank you so much for having me, Wade.
Thank you for joining us. We'll see you next time.
Thank you, everyone.